Hi guys, welcome to a new video session. I will be discussing about loops in Python. So as you can see here, I have launched Spider from the Anaconda Navigator, and first three lines you can see I am declaring an object primes with a series of numbers 2, 3, 5, 7. So it's a list. How can you identify? Because it is starting with a square bracket, ending with another square bracket. So why do we use loops? Just consider if you want to execute the same line multiple times. Rather than using the same line multiple times, you can just put that particular line of code into a for loop and execute the for loop. So it makes your code very concise and it makes it readable. So here primes is equal to list of numbers 2, 3, 5, 7 for prime in primes. So it's more like taking subset from the set. So prime is a subset. Here in the first instant of time, from the list primes, the first number, which is 2, will go into the variable prime and it will be printed as we execute this line print prime. And the next time the compiler go to this particular line, since it is a loop, it's when it enters, this print prime gets printed out and it goes back to the condition and checks whether the end of this object has reached. So it checks and 3 is returned to prime and it is printed, and again it goes back and the pointer of that particular for loop, that means for the first instant of time the pointer is 2. Then the next iteration, we call iterations, this number of repetitions. First it is 2, then it is 3, then 5, then 7. So at the first instant of first loop iteration, prime is equal to 2, then it prints 2. And the second iteration, prime is equal to 3, then it is printed 3, and similarly till 7. And once it is printed 7, then the pointer goes to the end of the file, end of the object, not the file, end of the object. So it doesn't return anything and the loop ends. So that's how it works. Like here, let me show you how it runs. See, 2, 3, 5, 7. I'm running this particular selected codes. So 2, 3, 5, 7 is printed out. So just consider if you want to print first 4 numbers, like beginning from 0. So you just have to write, rather than initializing any variable like primes is equal to 2, 3, 5, 7, you just have to write range 5. That means first 5 numbers starting from 0. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is clear. So it prints. So I'll just select it and run 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to print something like a range of numbers from 3 to 6, so 6 is excluded if you are writing 3 to 6. If you are writing 3 to 7, that means 7 is excluded and it will print 3, 4, 5, 6 if the body of the loop contains print statement. So for x in range 3, 6. And if you want to give a space between, like just consider if you don't want the consecutive numbers to be printed, rather than you need a gap of a single number like 3, 5, 7. So there is a difference between the adjacent numbers which are printed, like 5 minus 3, 2. That is the difference. So you just have to write range 3, 8. comma 2. So most of the times we make a mistake because we are so whenever we think range 1 to 2 1 to 5, we think that 1 2 3 4 5, but in this Python, range 3 comma 8 means starting from 3 and ending at 8 excluding 8, so 8 won't be printed. So here 3 comma 8 comma 2 means 3 5 7, that's it. So I'll just print out this 3 5 7. So what if you want to sum the numbers, the consecutive numbers? Just consider you want to sum consecutive numbers till like first consecutive numbers, first 5 consecutive numbers. So you just have to use a variable sum or any variable, like any variable such as count or any such variable, and you just have to initialize that sum equal to 0. I will show you how it is done over here. Sum equal to 0 and first 5 numbers. So I'll just write the first num equal to 1, or it's not required actually. While for num in range, how many, like first 4, so 1 comma 5 will take consideration from 1 2 3 4, and sum equal to sum plus num. So you just have to see, like when you get inside the body of a loop, you provide an indentation, and it is really important. So if you want to get out of that body, you just have to remove that indentation, and in the regular manner of coding, you just do it without indentation and print sum. Okay, I'll just make it more readable. The sum of first 4 numbers is comma sum percentage d. Okay, let me see whether it works. See, okay, this was not required. Percentage d is not required. You just have to, I was sorry, you don't have to use percentage d. I mean, that is one of the difference which you come across Python and C++. Print inverted comma, the sum of first 4 numbers is inverted comma comma sum. And similarly, if you want to count, like whatever I have written over here, count equal to 0 while count less than 5, print count plus equal to 1. So it's just a counter, so it just prints 0 1 2 3 4 5 as I am printing it out. And similar operation over here. And one of an interesting command which we have is break statement. It's actually statement, break statements. So what it does is it takes out of that particular loop. So we are using while loop over here. So while, if this condition is satisfied, this is true, so it will get inside. While true, print count. So first iteration it will print 0, then it's a counter, so that's why count plus equal to count plus equal to 1. So I'm just documenting it. So it's equivalent to, so those who are new to programming, they might not know it, equivalent to count equal to count plus 1. This is called pre-summation, like what you call, I forgot that particular word, pre and post increment, sorry, that is pre-increment. This is count plus equal to 1. So that is, that particular way of writing is called pre-incrementing. That is equivalent to count equal to count plus 1. there is a difference between pre and post increment, but it's not relevant over here because we are printing out the count after few execution of code. So it's not a big deal, execution of few lines of code. So count plus equal to 1 if count is greater than 5, greater than or equal to 5. So as the counter keeps on incrementing, like here 0 1 2 3 4 4 5, when it reaches 5 and when the particular loop encounter this line of code, if count is greater than or equal to 5, that is correct. So true, that means this will get inside this body of if statement and breaks, and it goes out of the loop. That means not just the if statement, it goes out of the entire loop. So I'll just show you how it is working. See, while true, print count plus equal to 1. So let me check, did I think I made a mistake over here because there was a problem of garbage value. Yeah, see, so I didn't run this particular statement initially. That's why it printed 5, because there is this thing called garbage value. I executed this set of line of codes and count stored 4, that final value inside that variable count was 4, and without initializing again with 0, I executed this set of codes. That's why it just printed 5. So you understood. I hope you understood. So next, how to print odd numbers. So we have this operation, percentage, mathematical operation Python, which provides the remainder. So the only thing which you have to do is if x percentage 2 equal to 0. So this is an if statement, and this is a condition, x percentage 2 equal to 0. That means if the remainder is 0, that means continue. And here there is another interesting statement, that is continue. That means it will skip that particular iteration. So skip means continue. If it executes continue, then it avoids any other line of code in that particular body. Rather than executing this line of code, it just goes to the next iteration possible. So if it was like so just consider x equal to 1, range 10 means first possibility is x equal to 1, then it gets inside. So 1 percentage 2, that is 1 divided by 2 gives the remainder 1. So the continue is executed. So that means it will try to run the next iteration rather than executing any further body of the for loop. So similarly, we will get the printed output of all odd numbers till 10 excluding 10. That's what we got over here. So in C++ or C, we don't have else condition for any loops like do, while, or for. So here in Python we have got that privilege. We can use else for loops. So as we know here, while count less than 5, print count. So it's a counter till 5 excluding 5. Once it says that this particular condition is false, the loops condition fails and it goes out of the loop, and it gets inside the else and prints it out. So once the condition inside the while fails, the else statement executes. That's what it is. So this is also an interesting facility they have in Python. You just know I think these can be used for debugging, so it will be really useful for debugging these else statements and all, and incorporated to this for loops, while loops and all. So here, and one thing you have to take into consideration is when you write while for while this particular line of code, while for, they end with a colon. Similarly, the decision making statement, if you should not avoid them. If you avoid them, you will come across errors. So that's it. We will be introducing pandas and databases in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.